Hello everyone, and thank you for making the time to watch this video. We have the pleasure this week here in China to have a guest from Everett. We have Dominik Ivankovic here, President of Portfolio Brands. So this encapsulates Fluke Calibration, Fluke Biomedical, and FPI. So with this, I'd like to ask a few questions to Dominik about what he's seen this week and his thoughts about the business in the region. So thanks for being with us, Dominik.
Thanks, Fred.
I think it's been a great week for both of us to interact and work with the team here. Can I ask you where you went and what did you take away from your visit at Gemba?
Mm-hmm. Well, going to Gemba matters a lot, and I think as is usually the case, I learned a lot during this trip. I stopped in Beijing, Tianjin, and Shanghai, visiting with a number of customers ranging from Honeywell to the Shanghai Institute of Metrology to the Tianjin Institute of Metrology, among others. And I think as I went through all of these visits and spent time with the team, a number of things really leapt out at me. First of all, just the wonderful hospitality of the Chinese people. Not just our people who are our associates who always show just incredible graciousness when they host any of us that come from Everett, but also on behalf of many of our customers who took time out of their busy work days to spend some time with us and help us better understand their business and the opportunities that may be in front of us. And opportunities there are many. While at times I think we can view the world through the lens of increasing competition, economic challenges, those kind of things, I think many of the visits that I went through this over the course of the week reaffirmed my belief in the long-term prospects of China and the opportunities in front of us that we have a chance to really compete effectively for and drive significant growth in the business over time.
So that's interesting, and so that's good color about China. If we zoom out a little bit here and look at APAC, what's your view on the broader business in the region here?
Mm-hmm. I think among many of our businesses, we're seeing general strength across the APAC markets. Both FCAL and FBC are doing very well and showing good growth and pockets of strength in many particular countries. The FPI business is a bit more challenged, largely on the back of a continued difficult market around metals manufacturing. But we do see that turning around in many other parts of the world, and I firmly believe that APAC will follow. Yeah. How do you see, Fred, other parts of the business from your end?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a very similar picture to what you see. But first of all, specifically, maybe I would say on FBC we see tremendous potential across the region. If we go back a little bit on China here, the hospital business is just a phenomenal opportunity. The regulation is helping us just make way in places where we've never been before. So it's white space to a large extent. I think the FBI business is in a difficult spot overall, but we're seeing hope there that it's starting in China to show better momentum. Mm-hmm. So we're hopeful that this is turning around, and I think FCAL in the region across APAC is a great story so far in Japan, because we're managing to sell our FCAL to customers that actually didn't even know we could sell our FCAL products.
Yeah, I agree.
So the team there is doing a phenomenal job. India has shown that third-party CAL labs are a great way to win, and probably China is going to get on that theme as well. So I think overall very hopeful, but there's a lot of stuff we need to do. We've got to do things differently because these are new spaces away from the legacy spaces. So
you mentioned something about Japan, and I think it's worth really highlighting because it came up in some of the conversations we had this week where we've seen a real dramatic improvement in the performance of our electrical calibration business in Japan, largely on the back of the RF products. And I think what it points to is the value of tremendous customer intimacy and our ability to frame the value propositions of our products in a unique way that's incredibly compelling for customers. And I was reminded of that many times over the course of this week when we got into discussions with customers where the context turned to, we just want something new. And oftentimes that is very much a first Pareto of what does it take to earn that customer's business or that customer's next purchase, but doesn't really get to the core of what are they really trying to do. Yeah. And where we've seen all this success in Japan is really around that deep customer intimacy, understanding the workload, and then translating that into a value proposition that's Absolutely. Incredibly compelling. Absolutely. And I think it was a great reminder for me in many cases that, you know, it's a learning process and a journey that we're all on, but I think it's a challenge that's an imperative for all of our sales organizations around the world to educate themselves about the products, the competition, to remember who we are, that we're never going to be the lowest priced products in the market. Yes. We're always going to sell at a premium, and we're going to sell at a premium because we offer great value at that premium. And I think it's just it's an important reminder as we look at and think about how we're going to compete in the future. Ultimately, people buy from people. Yeah. And when I was at Honeywell specifically, we had a great dialogue with the team there who spoke reverently about one of our PCAL RPMs, where they basically said there was a competitor with a product with a dramatically lower price point who also provided great service to that customer, but they ultimately bought from us because they bought trust, they bought confidence in the person that was selling them that product. Yes, yes. And so even though they may have thought that on a product level, in that particular case, we may have been even or perhaps even inferior given some pricing methodologies, the fact that our people, the best team out there, has that opportunity to bring that tremendous value proposition to life and to bring it in a way that's credible to the customer makes all the difference in our ability to win or lose. And I think at times we don't often remember that and hold each of ourselves accountable to bring that message when we're in front of customers.
Absolutely. It's not all down to the products, and it's really down to the intimacy we create locally. It's people to people, as you say. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. So thanks for this reminder and important color here. Maybe a few words on Dominique on the strategy, globally, more globally than locally here on the three different businesses we're talking about here.
Yep. Excuse me. So I think when you look at our major investments right now, a large chunk of them for FCAL, FBC, and even FPI have major software components. So what you see perhaps in the IG arena with increasing investment on software is something that is coming very similarly to the rest of the businesses. What we will be doing at the end of 2018 is launching major new software packages globally for the APAC countries that will include local translations that allow people to really drive their compliance management and calibration testing much easier than it's ever been done before. We're absolutely thrilled about the prospects of what we can bring to the market, and frankly, many of the customer visits I saw here in China this week look like perfect opportunities for us to really bring that value proposition here locally. On the FPI side, we also have big and major software pieces coming along as we launch our first fixed thermal imaging product in that business. Perhaps not the first, but our first time to be a highly competitive solution as we launch that in the second half of this year. And we just finished an agreement to add a software component to that. So I think regardless of which of the businesses you look at, the relevance of software to creating that great value proposition for end customers is going to really increase. Yeah. But we're not just going to be about software, and we're not going to forget where we came from. A lot of what we do and a lot of how we think about the future still has big hardware components, and it's critical that we really innovate around those products. The FPI business will launch more new products, I think, over the last 12 months and over the next 6 months. We'll launch more new products than have probably launched in the last 10 years combined in that business. Just fantastic output from the engineering team to make real progress. both in Berlin, Cambridge, as well as getting